Welcome back to the Anglers RX podcast. Good evening. It is Tuesday morning. Johnny, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks, Shane. How you doing?
Good. Doing well, man. Thank you. Not liking this early dark evening stuff. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I go to bed so early and wake up. I literally wake up at 4 a.m. now. 5 o'clock is my latest I wake up.
Yeah. I tend to wake up at around 5 a.m. and I hate it when I get off work and it's dark outside, especially when I want to get things done around the house or do something. So, guys, tonight we have
the one and only.
I mean, Max Lee. I mean, there's no introduction needed. There's no introduction needed for this guy. I was just reading a post that he posted about maybe an hour ago in regards to setting goals, and one of those goals was to catch at least 5 fish over 10 pounds this year. And I'm still working on an 8-pounder, let alone a 10-pounder. And he's got 4 of them already this year. So we're going to bring him on, the TOC champion of the CVKF. And so we're going to bring him in here in just a few moments. But quickly, I just wanted to thank everyone that came out for the Fish and Chill, Gobble and Chill, whatever we announced it as, up at Lake Berryessa this past weekend. Yeah. We had pretty close to 15 to 20 guys show up.
That's good.
Yeah. And so I want to thank each and every one of them for showing up and enjoying the day. We just, fishing was a little tough. It wasn't, it was more post frontal. But when you did, get into the schools, you were able to pull, quite a few fish off them.
Nice.
Took me a while to find mine. I did find them kind of up in the arm, and they were kind of moving in the area. I mean, they didn't move too far, but they were moving quite a bit, and caught a nice, pretty close to 3-pound smallie, and a couple others that were in the 2-pound class, and
nice.
Probably pulled, I don't know, probably close to 10 fish off that area, but then it died pretty quickly.
Were they chasing bait?
Yeah. The fish I was fishing for, it's funny. I was catching them on a spoon, little jigging spoon, Nichols jigging spoon, and or dust spoon, and
dust spoon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and every one of them were small. I mean, almost the size of the bait. So I just went down to a drop shot, a little Hazadong shad, and just every fish come up was a lot larger, and it kept getting bigger. So
something more subtle, huh?
Yeah, a couple guys caught some nice trout. I know Isaiah caught, I don't know, a limit of trout, and so great day. I think we're looking at maybe having another one. I'd like to do one on New Year's Day, on the 1st, and maybe get back up there to Berryessa. It seems to be a little bit more local for everyone to kind of get to. I know not for you, Johnny, but and a lot of the guys down there in the South Valley. But I don't know. We haven't made an exact. I might put a poll out there on Facebook. So. Look out for that. We'll just kind of get those plans together for the next one. So,
what about Comanche?
Well, Comanche I don't know if they're open. Comanche is closed, but there is some rumors going around that they might be opening up in sometime in April. And again, this is I mean, this is just hearsay, so I don't know yet. But I mean, if Party's not even open. Party's been shut down ever since they closed it, and I don't know if they're ever going to open up again. Those are the East Bay E-Mud lakes.
Right.
Those people kind of get a wild hair up their ass when something goes bad. They like to just, oh, we're done. We're done. Absolutely done. So we'll just have to wait and see what pans out. But beside that, guys, I don't want to let Max sitting in there waiting. So we're going to bring him in. And here we are, Max.
There he is.
I can wait all night.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. Average Max. I got to say that that name doesn't fit. You are definitely not catching average fish lately. So, you know, but
A lot of it's luck.
yeah, right.
You've caught 5 fish over 10 pounds this year.
I need one more.
He needs one more.
Oh, one more?
Yeah. I'd have to say it'd be luck if I catch a 10-pounder, but you catching 4 so far this year, I would have to say that takes a little bit more skill than luck at this point. So I get it. You got to be at the right place at the right time, but I'm still working on even catching a 10-pounder. So, Johnny, how many 10-pounders have you caught?
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during tournaments, I caught one in a Pro-Am. That was West Coast bass. It was close to 11 pounds. I also weighed in a big fish, 1081 in a big fish tournament. I caught another one at Don Pedro in a tournament. And that went a little over 11 pounds. The week before that, I caught another one at Don Pedro. A little 4-inch worm in 50 feet of water. The day of the tournament, I caught it on a jig, shallow. And then Maloney's. I think I got 3 out of Maloney's. One during a tournament. That was the 100% bass. One the week before that, basically in the same area. Not the exact same spot, but same area. And then I caught that one for my Tourney X, my biggest fish in the Tourney X. And that was 10, I think that was 1081 too. So I've caught a lot during tournaments. Now, years ago in the 90s, fishing the Delta, you know, during the springtime, it was very common to go there on a weekend and catch a fish over 10 pounds. Very common.
Yeah.
Now it's a rarity. You know, it's pretty hard to catch one over 10. So, you know, they had the F1s, I think, are now, and that's like the Florida strain bass.
Yeah.
They released a bunch in there, and they call them F1s. I think they've now mixed with the rest of the fish, so they're not growing as big. And plus, you know, in the current and stuff like that, you know, they basically become longer and skinnier, just like
Sure.
the bait chasers are skinny, you know. So I caught a 14 3/4 out of Eastman, one biggest fish.
Oh, Lord.
I caught a 12 and a
Oh,
half.
Lord. Does that have you beat average, Max?
In a tournament?
It does.
It does. You have a 13 out of Eastman, don't you?
Yeah.
I have 2.
You have 2. Yeah. Jeez. Wow.
So I haven't really kept track of it besides the tournaments, you know. Like I said, during the springtime at the Delta, it was very common to catch one over 10 pounds. You know, It was April, you know, late March through April into May, and sometimes into June, even July, those big fish would bite.
So I have a question for you too,
Actually,
John. So do you think it's easier to catch? Was it easier to catch a 10 back then in the 90s and early 2000s, or is it easier now? Because we have the technology and all that. Was there just more 10-pounders swimming back then than there are now?
I think because of their them planting Florida strain bass, and back then in the 90s, it was way more common to catch one over 10 pounds on the Delta. Maloney's is full of huge fish. So is Don Pedro, but you really don't hear about a lot of them being caught anymore. Which doesn't necessarily mean they're all dead, but they're still there. There's always some more that show up. So
yeah, I think
that's
so.
the thing. Yeah, I think they do have a lifespan of so many years, and after that, you either find them floating or they just sink to the bottom or whatever. And during the spawn, very stressful for most of those big fish. Oh, and by the way, one time at Don Pedro, I was fishing a tournament, and I had found some bedfish, and I come around the corner, and I see this log in the water, and the log moved. I was like, wow, look how big this bass is. And I spent the rest of the tournament trying to catch that fish. The tournament ended at like at 2:30. At 6:30, I'm still trying to catch this fish. It had several bucks, like 20 bucks, and it would go around, and all these little bucks would come up to her, and she would go down to the nest, go to that nest, go to that nest. And the next day, I'm like, I'm going back and I'm gonna catch that fish. It was gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had my chance to catch one that was, it was so big that biggest bass I've ever seen. Put it that way. Yeah. And Clear Lake back in the late 80s, early 90s, I had one on that was well over 10 that come on butt right next to the boat as I was getting ready to net it. It actually opened his mouth up, and there was probably 10 5-pounders around that fish. Someone right next to it.
Gosh.
Yeah. So I fell to the bottom of the boat and cried like a little girl.
Well, there was recently 10 and a half caught out of Berryessa. So, they're definitely there. It's, I think, I'd hate, it's more luck of the draw when you get into these bigger, deeper lakes. I think one of those, Eastman seems to produce though. What do you think that reason is at, Max? That lake produces.
It really doesn't produce, honestly speaking. Just rumors and such. There's better lakes, honestly. It's just nobody says anything. So I hear stuff about like 12-pound spotted bass and like really big largemouth, like 17s out of these other lakes. I'm not saying any names because I was told not to say anything, but guys are catching them. It's just the guys that are on them just don't want people to know. They don't want, the word to get out.
Yeah.
So, like my home pond specific, guys hear about it because basically I say it, or I put it out there.
Well, yeah, Damien's got quite a few over 10 out of Eastman. I know that. Doesn't he, John? I'm not pretty sure. He's got quite a few over. So it is a lake that does produce. It is a smaller lake though. Why?
You want to know why? So at one time it was a trophy lake, and you weren't allowed to catch or take home a fish within a certain length
slot limit. Yeah.
But prior to that, it was actually closed. And you could fish from the bank, but you couldn't fish out of a boat. So, and then at one time too, I don't even think you were even able to fish from the bank. So they left those fish alone. They let sit there and gorge on big fish, meaning like crappie and bluegill and bass. That's what they eat there. There's no shad, so they're eating
No
big
trout?
baits. And
There trout out there?
oh, there's trout. They
Oh,
plant
okay.
trout. Yeah, they plant trout. But yeah, it's one of those lakes that they did all the right things, and they ended up with a really good trophy lake. And anyways,
Yeah,
it's
I've
it's
heard.
close by to the house, and it's a lake I bring my buddies to. Say, hey, if I've never caught a 10-pounder. Okay, let's go here. And no guarantees, but this is the more likely that you'll catch one from this lake or this lake. And they're like Max was saying, I could name off a few lakes that are close by that you can catch giant fish right now, and you just have to show up and fish for them. But again, people kind of keep it quiet because as soon as you get a lot of pressure, they end up being like those Eastman fish. They just don't bite. They won't bite.
Yeah.
They know you're there. They could feel your presence, especially in a boat, unless you time it perfectly and get there when the fish are feeding, and you get lucky enough to catch one out of that school or two, then you did a good job, and then that's it. That's all you're going to get. I mean, you're not going to go there and catch 5 fish out of one school unless they're basically yeah.
The stars have to align if you want to get a really big bag there.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and you have to be doing the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not every day that you're going to hear somebody pull a 50-pound bag out of there in a single day.
Yeah.
No. Now Clear Lake, how many tournaments have been won with people weighing in bags over 30 pounds and needing 35 pounds to win a tournament, and they have 35 pounds of fish, So, that Clear Lake, that's just a fish factory, and when people are on them, they're on them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, it realistically, I don't think it produces the biggest fish. It's just because not too many people fish it right now. Then those fish are a little bit less pressure. That spring to summer month, there's always somebody out there, and then
gets hit hard.
Yeah, every now and then you hear somebody pop a 10 or pop a 13, pretty regularly, on a weekend basis, every other week kind of deal. But for the most part, I don't think it has that true giant population of just really big ones. It has them, but it doesn't have a lot of them. But
has a lot of them though.
Just enough for Max to catch.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna plead.
I remember a couple springs ago, I was throwing a Cinco up on the bank along the rocks, in 6-8 feet of water at the deepest, and I caught big fish. It was ridiculous. And I was like, wow, never knew there's that many big fish in this lake. I just happened to catch it when they were on the bank, and they were really easy to catch, and it's funny how that works. And then, a week later, it's like, well, okay, they're gone. But, they were there, the lake went up, so they were just deeper and a little harder to catch, and different presentation and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I was out there last week when I had the 11, and I had roughly around 30 to 35 pounds, along with just the one fish. So, I mean, it's tough to break that 40-pound mark there. honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it, throwing a big bait, and you have to be really dialed into the timing and all that. But it's
Disciplined.
yeah, it's very finicky in its own way. You kind of have to know what you're doing.
Very
there,
finicky,
honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I enjoy it too.
Yeah,
Though,
I've seen
'cause-
these.
Yeah, that's why I enjoy it too, because you really have to be careful with your approach, and that's why it's enjoyable to me. It's fun in its own way. It's head banging difficult, as in you pull the hairs out of your head, but it's fun because when you do figure it out or you do get a bite, it's a rewarding bite. So
Right.
I got a really funny story to tell about Eastman. So years ago, and it's probably been 4 or 5 years at least, maybe longer. I went all the way out to Eastman for a tournament. I think it was right before it was Central Valley. It was someone else was putting it on, and went out there, had a great day of tournament fishing. But the night before, I took a friend of mine. He came to fish the tournament too, and I told him, put a sticker on your fence, on the catch board. And I had a line drawn on a Sharpie, so you can kind of differentiate it was touching. But I didn't read the rules. I told him to put a sticker. I didn't put a sticker. Well, I caught a good limit, and I came in and I showed the director all my fish, and he's like, "Dude, you have no sticker." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, all your fish are DQ'd, and you got to read the rules, man." And I would have took first. I would have beat Damien just by a few. And I'd never fished that lake before, never even pre-fished it. And I had a great day of fishing. So people, read your rules. Make sure you're
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Take clear pictures too.
yeah.
Pictures. Make sure mouth is closed. Make sure your hand's in the right position.
you
And
should have
take
just
several photos.
at that point you should have just cut off your kayak and put it in the back of a boat. At that point,
Should have, huh? Right?
Cut your
You might as
kayak in
well.
half.
I mean, we can laugh about
Boy,
that
that's-
now, but man, this whole cheating. Anyways, that's a whole rabbit hole that we don't need to go down to tonight. But
Yeah, I mean, I could see if it's worth $100,000 or $1 million or whatever, but for a couple $100, gee, that's pretty stupid. Yeah, even
yeah.
$1,000.
Do it
yes.
for the likes. Do it for the thumbs up and the
Yeah,
likes.
Well,
And then Mac, what about the time at the Delta fishing the Bass Nation?
yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
remember this one.
Yeah.
It's just a sad day, and now everyone's talking about it so much. It's given this guy so much attention, and honestly, I think he's being put onto a podcast to talk about the situation. It's like, why are we even giving this guy a freaking podium or a soapbox? It should just be like, don't even bring it up, man.
He should be arrested for and fishing license taken away.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but that's another night. Hey, we're talking about Eastman and
Oh,
yeah,
the TOC, that's
I'm
right.
telling you, Max, congratulations on the TOC.
Way to go.
The Central Valley kayak fishing, which Donovan has done really well running it. I mean, I know you guys down there in the South tend to get kind of overlooked, and you do have to travel quite a bit to make it to these tournaments that are a little bit more north. And Donovan's done a great job to make sure you guys have some type of a platform out there to fish
Yes,
tournament.
he has done a
So
great job.
hats off to Donovan. I know he's taken a step back from it. It's got some things going on. And from what I understand, Robert Yamamoto, Mr. Drop Shot Queen, is taking over. So hats off to him for stepping up and taking it over. And I know he's trying to get everything finalized with insurance and all that good stuff. So schedule should be out soon, I believe. is what they're saying. So,
supposedly.
supposedly we'll see. But congratulations on the TOC. Tell us, I mean, obviously, I have to say it's your home pond. So, did you do some pre-fishing prior to the event?
I mean, honestly, it's during the fall. Anybody that's fished around long enough during the fall knows that for the most part, pre-fishing during the fall can really hurt you because realistically, those fish could be there one day and they're not there, the next week or the next day. That's just typical.
100% true for fall fishing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I fished it, yes, but I didn't fish it in the regard to go into the event because my season was supposed to be done without even fishing the TOC, even though I qualified. But it was just one of those deals where last second I went out there just to fun fish the week before. The lake was starting to turn over. It didn't actually turn over yet. It was kind of in that in-between phase where the overnights were getting lower, but throughout the day it was still really hot. So we would still get algae blooms. The lake itself wasn't really set into that full-on fall transition. It was kind of like that really early fall transition. So, I mean, pre-fish, I went, if you want to call it pre-fish, fun fish the week prior. All the fish, all the bait were still really shallow. They were still really active. I was fishing probably more similar towards that like summer pattern where the fish were still really hot. They still wanted to eat, you could say. And then, I call my fish do the same thing. Mid-strolling that week before, I had like 102 or 103 inches the week before. And then we kind of had a cooler week leading into the actual week of the event. And I just said last minute, I was like, well, I'm going to go fishing anyway. So I just went ahead and fished the TOC. I didn't really find anything out. I was just kind of out there just fishing around during practice or my fun fishing day.
Yeah.
So, I figured I had 100 inches, just kind of fishing for isolated fish. I'll just run with that. I can't, doesn't hurt to just continue to do that. And so, the big thing I found was more so presentation. I feel like nowadays everybody's kind of hung up on, you say mid-strolling or you say live scoping or scoping for isolated floating fish. But I feel like presentation, at least for, the TOC specifically, I found that presentation was more critical in getting those bigger bites. I couldn't fish a really heavy lead head. I was fishing a jig head minnow with a mooch minnow, 12-pound leader to 16-pound braid. Nothing too crazy. I didn't really downsize my line or my leader, but the big thing was leading the fish far enough and presenting to the fish in a way where they wouldn't get spooked. So it didn't matter if they were in, 10 feet of water or if they were in 25 feet of water. The big thing was, even line vibration, or if I threw it too close to them and it fell vertically on top of their head, they wouldn't eat it. It was a lot of you had to select how you presented that bait to that fish, especially the big ones.
Overcasting. Bringing it over, not shaking it much.
Yeah.
Just kind of really slowly strolling over their head.
Yeah.
Keep it
pendulum.
Yeah.
Pendulum.
You were pendulum.
Yeah. I was pendulum down. Since then the bite has changed, but just for that week, essentially I would say if I seen a target sitting at 15 feet, about 60 feet out, I would make about a 70-foot cast, 70, 75-foot cast. I would let it get down, and basically you can see when the fish reacts to it and the fish starts essentially turning onto the fish.
Yeah.
I still, or onto the bait, I still wouldn't move the bait in any way or shake the minnow in any way. I would just continue to slow reel it until it got within about 2 foot of the bait. And then I would start shaking it to kind of imitate that that rolling action of the minnow.
Yeah.
And then typically they would eat it. It was a stall in their face kind of a bite. But it, like I said, it's a lot of presentation, because if the fish were faced a certain way and you hit the tail side of their head instead, then obviously they wouldn't eat it. They would just spook off and they would swim away. So you had to be able to differentiate which side of the actual dot itself the head was on, so you could make that proper presentation. So all of that played. Motor noise played. There was a lot of fish where my trolling motor wasn't even on. I was just kind of floating around everywhere, making those casts and staying on top of those fish.
Yeah.
So.
Eastman's not a deep lake, right? I mean, obviously right now it's not, because there's not much water in it, but
there's no water.
what's the typical depth of that lake, or the deepest spot in that lake? Where are you looking at full capacity?
Around like 250, I would say. And that
okay.
That'll probably be right at the dam, I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it's not that's about it, about 250 to 200, 300-ish. It's not super deep.
It pulls down into that area. I mean, because if I recall right, I mean, at least the areas that I fished, that lake's pretty flat and really, really rocky, like a lot of boulder areas out there, if I recall right. But the water was low at that point, so it just seemed like it was, shallow and flat for me.
It reminds me a lot of Comanche.
Yeah.
It has all those rolling arms and long points and gravel bars kind of deal. Road beds and such.
Yeah. So
yeah, a lot of granite.
Yeah.
A lot of granite and hard pan.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much it was a mooch minnow for you that day. Was there any other bite that you found, or was it just pretty much mistral?
It was so I'm by no means a really good scoper, by no means. I've kind of just I kind of gathered whatever I found over just fishing a lot. So that day it was a mooch minnow in roughly about 15 to 25 feet. It was the most consistent bite.
What size head?
It was a 1.8 gram. I don't know what the weight on that is, but it's roughly about an eighth
of an ounce, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's roughly about an eighth ounce. So like crappie jig size, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just with a better hook, bigger hook than a crappie hook. But I found that what happened was during the fun fishing day that I had the week prior, those fish were floating much higher in the water column. And then on tournament day, those fish started floating a little bit deeper down. The bait also pushed down in the water column. There were some better fish that were up shallow in that less than 10 foot of range. And what I found with those really shallow fish is if you take like a Nico rig worm or like a dice, and you could get it to hover in front of them in that shallower water column, you'll typically get those fish to bite. So I had a couple fish on the Nico rig as well. But yeah, those fish didn't weigh in. It was just, bycatch.
Yeah. So you had what, 85 and
I think 85
a quarter?
and a half.
85 and a quarter. Yeah.
That was probably like one of the smallest limits all year that won a tournament, huh?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, and it's also I would think a pretty light bag for Eastman anyways, wouldn't it be? 85 inches?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So
that tells you how tough it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were quite a few guys that, had one or two fish. But you were quite ahead from second place. I mean, second place was 79 3/4. And that was Jorge. Yeah, Jorge Mosquita. And then Damien was in second, right, or third, right, literally behind Jorge at 79 and a half. So,
I had the bites to get 90 inches. I had one that broke the hook, which I've never had experience before, where it came and ate it, and then it was a 5 pound class fish, and it broke. It just broke the hook. As soon as I leaned back into it, the actual belly part of the hook just broke clean off, and I came back with a minnow. But it happens. Nothing I can do about that, honestly.
No, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So, Dave.
Sometimes they get bad wire.
Yeah.
And when they make those hooks, it's real brittle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Nunes asked, what technique do you like to use the dice on? Do you have a favorite technique for it? I've never even used the dice yet once I haven't even tried it. So
I haven't. I don't really have a favorite technique. Because you could a lot of people haven't really kind of like spread the word on the dice yet, as in like the ways to fish it or targeting it. But obviously you can't go wrong with a drop shot, and drop shot's very standard on a dice. A quakey, which is the really big urchin dice looking like bait. Some guys may or may not know, but guys will fish that on, say, like a Nico rig style, where they weigh the actual quakey itself, and then they fish it for high floaters, suspenders, in anywhere. And then there's also a way where you rig it with kind of like a free rig, but it's with a weight, and then it's also a wacky rig hook, but the weight is attached to the hook itself. I believe it's called a Geeka rig.
Rig, yeah.
And a lot of guys use that for fishing brush because, according to what I'm told from Daigo, because Daigo has dabbled into the quakey. The quakey is a really buoyant bait, so you can actually fish on a jig rock because it's so buoyant. You can put enough weight, and it'll still fall really slow. That's the appeal of it. So even within the dice brands or the dice kind of category, there's a lot inside just the dice category. You could drop shot like the OSP dices. You could fish a high floating dice, kind of like the quakey, or even like the Q bomb, the Geek Crack Q bomb. That's also a high floating dice bait, or you could also drop shot that bait as well. So
man, I'm way behind, dude.
Yeah.
I'm way behind.
A lot of it's it's just one of those deals where I get to fish a lot more than a lot of guys can, I guess you could say. So I'm always trying to dabble in to try to get a certain presentation to a certain fish.
Yeah. It's just I haven't caught on to the dice yet. And not that I'm against it. I just haven't really dabbled in it at all. I'm still trying to figure out how to shake a damn minnow. So, I get frustrated with that technique. Cause they'll follow, I'll see them, they come right up, but I just can't trigger a bite. And, when I first started doing it, it seemed easier than it did now. So I don't know. I just got to discipline myself, go out there and just take that rod and just figure it out, So,
yeah.
So what I've kind of noticed with strolling in general is, depending on water clarity, there's like a certain bubble around the fish where the fish notices or sees your bait.
Sure.
And so what I've noticed is sometimes a vertical presentation works best, and then sometimes a horizontal approach works best. As in, essentially, if you cast it and it falls right on top of its head in clear water, sometimes they'll bite. Sometimes they will bite.
Yeah, it triggers a bite.
And then sometimes you have to make that further cast, and then you work it into their zone, wherever that bubble is, where they notice the bait. Then your odds of triggering a bite is higher, is what I've noticed with the strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the jig head itself makes a big deal too. You could put it on the regular roller head, or you could put on a ball head, or you could put it on the I forget the the first gen
jaw dropper.
Draw, yeah. That with those little wings, it causes it to. So if you drop it straight down and you could like pop it, and the thing will, give that erratic action, kind of like a spoon, and they'll eat it there. And two, it kind of when you throw it out, it kind of swims by itself, wobbles back and forth, and just letting it pendulum down. Or some like the ball head basically goes straight down. So and the weight, so I mean there's a lot of variables that go into it, and you almost have to have like a bunch of heads and a few baits that you have a lot of confidence in, and just switch them out until you get a bite.
Yeah.
You could start off with a 1 ounce weight and end up with an 1/8 ounce weight to catch them.
Well, I saw Joey's video, and he he pulled out the case he had of all the hooks, and my goodness, I couldn't believe the amount of hooks was in that case. There were all kinds of hooks. So, you obviously get to a point you got it dialed, and you can kind of tell. But I've got to get there at some point. So,
yeah, with the whole scoping deal, suspended fishing, you just kind of break into categories, kind of, in my opinion, you break it into your 10-foot category, and then your 10-foot and deeper, and then beyond that, and then you kind of just play with the weights to see what kind of works best in those water depths.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not the most fine-tuned approach, because on any given day, it's still fish. They're going to do what they want to do. But it helps kind of narrow down, where you start. So if, say, you see a lot of isolated suspending fish in, 15 feet, then that you'll throw, say, a 1/4 ounce, a head or something of that nature to get down fast enough, but also be natural enough for them to bite it.
Sure.
You just mess with kind of the depth zones, and any given day those fish will change, whether they're in 5 feet of water or they're in 40 feet of water.
Yeah,
they'll change depending on where they want to be for those better fish. So that's what I've noticed. Yeah,
time of year too has a lot to do with it. When the lake's turning over, those fish get a little sick, and they really don't want to bite that well. And eventually you figure something out that they want, and that's the biggest key. And in the past, for me, I've always fished super shallow when the lake's turning over, just because that seems like where there's more oxygen for the fish and they get a little more comfortable being really shallow. But again, depends on the lake, depends on the bait fish, the food available. There's all these variables that go with it. So
yeah, see, not 2 weekends ago when I was up at McClure, I could not find one fish shallow. I tried almost all morning until I stumbled upon something, and they were out in 60 to 80 feet of water. And once I found them out there, I mean, it was game on. I probably pulled 40 or 50 fish in the day out of there. You know what I mean? They just would not stop biting. But since we're talking about lake turnover, Max, what are some of the indicators you're looking for when a lake has turned over? For me, it tends to be when I start to see more bubbles, right? I mean, does that make sense? I mean, obviously I may not know what I'm talking about here, but I see a lot of bubbles, coming from deep water, and it's kind of, coming up and bubbling onto the surface. But what are some of your indicators?
For me, it's very simple for me, because I'm always outside all the time. I work outside. My 9 to 5 is outside working. So, I notice when the weather changes. I notice when it starts changing from that summer into those cooler
nights. Yeah.
I also notice it when, the time of day gets shorter. And so even without going to the lake and actually seeing the bubbles and, like seeing the brown color on the water to indicate, your turnover and all that, or, the algae depth, your algae bloom depth, and it mixes into the lake. Once it starts cooling off, I automatically think that, oh yeah, these fish are going to they're going to start pulling off the ledges, and they're going to start either going deeper, you know, because sometimes I found fish really deep during that period, which is weird. And then at the same time, there's also fish that go really shallow too. So
Yeah.
as soon as that summer to fall transition where you feel the weather cool off, it may not happen immediately, and it's a progression before it actually turns over or starts turning over. But I'm already thinking, yeah, the lake's starting to turn over.
Yeah, well, those fish definitely going to feel it a lot quicker than you will, or notice it a lot quicker than we will. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, they're pretty sensitive. So,
Yeah.
So you know how I could tell?
Yeah, I was going to ask you next, John.
When I pull up to the ramp,
and there's nobody
and it's
there.
No, there's no one there. Yeah, you know, fishing's really good. You know, the smell of mud.
Yeah.
You know, and decay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when the lake starts turning over, it starts mixing.
Yeah.
And it has this stench. You know, like mud.
Yeah.
So even in our deep reservoirs, they'll flip at different areas at different times. Obviously, where it's shallower, you know, it cools quicker.
Sure.
Compared to the super deep water. But you know, that's my biggest indicator is actually you can smell it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing that you touched on too, John. I think a lot of people forget that lake may be turning over and it may not be fishing the best, but that's just a certain part of the lake. As in, the entire lake doesn't turn over at the exact same time.
No.
So you could go to the same lake that's constantly turning over, but there's a section on that lake or a certain spot on that lake where those fish are still on their summer pattern, or it's already turned over and it's already on a fall pattern.
So one thing I noticed at the TOC at Eastman, every boat was in one section of the lake.
Yes.
And it was kind of funny because I did go up, I think it was a day before. I had a little bit of time to go up the day before. And anyways, so basically I just did a lot of scanning, you know, and moved all the way around the lake, which it's not that big, you know. And there was one section of the lake that had almost all the fish that were active. You know, I'm not saying there wasn't fish over at the other areas, but and there was, you know, but the majority of the fish where they were, you know, caught, that were caught were in one real specific area of the lake, and I think that has to do with at that time, you know, lake turning over. It's got the right depth with the different depth changes. Plus, it had the right oxygenated water close by, without getting in real specific. But you know, there's things you got to key in on, and you know, a lot of times I give up a lot of this stuff, but I think you need to get on the water and find it yourself, you know, and notice it yourself. So that make you a better fisherman instead of me saying, you know, one thing. That's why I'm being kind of generalized on what I'm talking about, you know.
Very much.
And that goes with almost every lake, you know. I've you know, you could see it at every lake, and certain times of the year, you know, certain sections of the lake are way better compared to the other sections. So, and it doesn't mean, you know, the other ones are no good. It just, you know, there's just more active fish showing themselves at a different area.
Yeah, like on the TOC, I was one of the few guys that actually caught a fish on the opposite side of the lake. I had found those fish as well, you know, my fun day of fishing, and that's where I caught my big one, was also on that same side of the lake. But a lot of guys I didn't see a lot of guys fishing on that side of the lake. And
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a very big area. It was a very specific roadbed that those fish were using, and so there was fish on that roadbed.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it had all the right factors and water quality, and then there was constantly fish that was moving up and down that roadbed that a lot of
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
missed out.
They were using the break to hide out, and then when the crappie showed up, they'd go up and
Yep.
chew on the crappie
Yep.
and the bass.
Yep. Yes, sir.
You know, so that's a question for you. So since there's no bait fish, what do they eat?
Crappie. You just said it.
Yeah, but what else?
So in my experience, all your panfish, so your crappie, bluegills, you know, the whole gamut of panfish, they do have some minnows in there, but it's a very small population of minnows, like pond smells. I've never actually seen them, but there's a very small population of them. So it's not their key forage, not at all. They eat bass. I've seen them have a fall spawn during the fall time of the year where they'll have small fry that's pushed up, almost like they're guarding beds, but they're actually just chasing the bass fry and they're munching on the bass fry. You know, typical fall feed. And carp.
Appetizer.
Yeah, appetizer. And carp. They do actually eat carp as well. A lot of guys don't consider it, but realistically, when there's such an abundance of carp, not all of them are going to eat carp, but for sure they're going to be eating on carp and catfish.
Mhm.
Those fish they're taking every opportunity that they will to eat those fish. They're not picky in there. They have to eat. So
Yeah, the reason why I asked you that is, so obviously they eat the panfish,
yeah.
but I think they eat more bass than what we really realize.
Oh yeah.
The reason why I say that is the size of bass there range from 6 to 12 inches.
Yeah.
You know, for a 10-pounder to eat a 12-inch bass would just, wouldn't be a problem at all.
Oh.
You know, just like a, 12-inch trout.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So, the trout are planted, but there's plenty of bass there for them to eat. And every time I get around and I start catching little small bass, all I could think was, where are these bigger bass at? They got to be here because they're eating these bass. They have to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see it. I mean, the crappie is one thing, and when you see them this time of year, they're long and skinny, but any other time of the year, they're like footballs, like Clear Lake, and their bellies are full.
Oh, they 100% eat the bass. I'll get specific with it. So let's say you have a rock pile and you go drop shot the rock pile, catch a bunch of 12, 10, 12, 11 inchers on the rock. And what I mean is you're physically targeting just the rock or, a point, any kind of structure or cover that you're catching a bunch of small ones on. Typically, the big ones would be on the outside edges of that structure or that cover. Why would that big one not be on the prime structure? And why are the small bass on the prime piece of structure or cover? There's no other reasoning behind it besides their feeding on those fish. Yeah. Now, do I actually see this to say that? Do I actually see them eat it? I don't. I haven't seen it yet. It's not to say that they don't, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because why else would a 5-pound class fish and beyond be not sitting on the prime piece of structure? Why is it sitting on the edges of the structure and the cover? It isn't right. It doesn't make sense, So
I got to tell you, years ago, my wife and I went there in my boat, and I'm idling around in 60 feet of water. I noticed, there's a buoy on this rock pile. I thought they didn't mark these rock piles. So I'm idling around and I see another rock pile. It's like in 30 feet of water, and there's this buoy on top again. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, that's weird. I thought they, like I said, I thought they didn't mark these. So I'm idling around, and I see another one. I stop. I tell my wife, here, drop this drop shot down. And I can see the fish on the buoy.
Mhm.
She drops down and catches a 5-pounder, and the buoy disappeared. And I called it King of the Hill because it was like a rock pile, and the fish were on the very top.
Yeah.
And when you fished around the rock pile, you caught little dinks, but the big one was on the very top.
That's funny.
So then I went back over to those areas. I followed my trail, and I found the rock pile in 60 feet of water. My wife dropped down, and she caught a big one, and I'm like, huh, you know, okay, that's 2 times. It's got to be a pattern. So I follow my trail over to the other rock pile. I tell her drop down, and she drops down, and she catches another giant one.
Mhm.
And I haven't been bit, and she's just dropping a drop shot literally right on the fish. I thought they were buoys the whole time.
That's funny.
And so I found out too, because we had a tournament later, a few weeks later, whatever. You couldn't get on top of the fish. You had to stay off the rock pile and cast to the rock pile. Where when my wife and I were fishing, you could get on top of them and they would bite. So I tried to get on top of them, and I'd see them and I couldn't get bit. So I kind of got blown off the rock pile, and I cast it over there, and I started catching fish. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. You can't be on top of the rock pile. You know what I mean? So I never caught no giants, but I caught the little fish that were around the edge of the rock pile.
That's.
Yeah, I couldn't find the king of the hill anymore.
I think
They were
it's
gone.
just your wife's a better fisherman than you, Johnny.
Well, I tell you what, if more women fished, we'd be in trouble. Just
Oh yeah, we definitely would.
we would, yeah.
Well, we're coming up to our hour, guys. Max, I want to kind of close with this. I know you're taking a step back. I wasn't going to bring it up, but someone's asking, what are your plans in 2026? Are you going to be still out there chasing some of these big bass? Is that going to be more of a focus for you? Or are you moving on to a boat, or what do you have going on?
No boat plans, that's for sure. I don't plan to join the co-angler side. I don't plan to get a boat myself. I can't afford it, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think a lot of us are in that.
Yeah. Very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard the $1,000 stories, and I can't do that. I buy too much tackle to begin with. I can't afford to buy a boat too.
Yeah. Well, been there, and I left it real quick. So.
Yeah, but competition wise, honestly, I've put it, I've put it through its paces. I mean, I averaged 20 some odd events. A lot of it's local stuff, Northern California, kind of regional stuff, you could say.
Sure.
But, I've kind of gone through the paces, and do I still wish to compete? Yeah, kind of, sort of. Do I really have a burning desire to compete? Honestly, not really. I don't have a huge incentive personally to compete. To me, I feel like the steps of just figuring out the fish and catching fish is far more intriguing to me. And so the competition aspect of it is great. Don't get me wrong. If you want to learn fast in a high pressure situation, you can learn a lot competing. There's nothing that will probably help you learn faster than actually signing up and competing, and then talking to fellow anglers how they caught them, and you compare notes. I don't think there's a faster way to learn.
Sure.
But I mean, where I can't justify continuing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Bassmaster is supposed to come Clear Lake this year.
In June.
So, you're going to be a little bit more selective,
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I mean, I kind of hit that point this last year, and it's been nice to just go out and fun fish and not, go through the paces of tournament fishing. And I do miss the tournament, excitement. I look forward to it this next year, but, it is nice sometimes to just take a step back and just kind of reevaluate everything and, just get out there and enjoy the time you got on the water and fish. I think a lot of us get kind of hung up in the tournament scene instead of just going out and doing it for what we do it for, and that's just for the love of being in the outdoors and chasing those big bass. So
yeah. So will I say that I'm not going to fish anymore?
No,
I can't say that. You never know. I get a sudden urge. A native event comes up, and I'm like, well, I've always done well during a native event. Let's go have fun and go catch a bunch of fish, maybe win $1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Then or win a boat with one fish, or a kayak with one fish.
Yeah.
And I'll jump in, but do I actually have plans of like scheduling out my entire 2026 just to go to events? I really don't. The biggest thing on my mind right now is I want to catch a 7-pound smallmouth.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing on my mind right now. I've caught a 7-pound spot. I've caught a 13-pound largemouth. My next goal would be to catch a trophy caliber smallmouth, which I would consider in that 7 to 8 pound range. It's anybody could say that's about trophy class smallmouth.
That's the only trophy bass I've ever caught is a smallmouth. I got one that's I never got weighed, but it was close to 7+.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's big. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a photo of it, and I'll show it to you someday. I'm not going to go through my whole phone trying to find it right now, but it was definitely up there.
How many tournaments did you fish this year, Max?
Oh dear.
All right, let me put it this way. How many weekends did you have free?
I had more tournament weekends than I had weekends free. That's all I know. I was on the road to an event at least
almost every weekend.
Yeah, at least like 30 weekends. At least I would say.
Burnout.
Yeah, and then obviously that includes your holiday, family time and all that. So I fished probably 30 weekends of events this year, and then I had maybe 10 to myself, something of that nature.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah, so the last 3 years, I basically every weekend I got a tournament.
Yeah.
And last year I was like, man, it's getting to be a little much, but I don't mind it. I like it, except for at the end part of the year, you're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I get to take a break.
Yeah.
And it gets to be a little overwhelming. At first, wasn't too bad, but it's again too. It's like now that I'm retired, I can pre-fish during the week, and not a lot of people get that. But a lot of times I don't even do that.
Yeah.
I just go fish the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I never got a chance to pre-fish this year, besides the couple, your big events, like West Coast, and
right,
where you make the time to go to it.
Yeah.
But
right.
I mean, this year I had a stint where I fished like 6 events in a row, six consecutive weekends in a row. I had to go to work and then go to fish, go to work and then go to fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There was no pre-fishing for me for those 6 weeks, consecutive weeks. So did it hurt my performance? Maybe. I don't know. I'll never know. But it's a lot. I mean, next year's schedules, based off of what I see, it's there's less events to go to. It's not as packed, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I've kind of overextended myself in a sense. Yeah. So.
Yeah, they're gonna have ABA down south this year.
Mm-hmm.
South Cal is fishing down south, so
Mm-hmm.
there's 2 circuits this year down south.
Mm-hmm.
So far, you got CVKF, Yakabass, BAM, and then Alliance. So that's that's a lot around here.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you were just to fish BAM and Yakabass, that's and CVKF. Yeah, that's every weekend from March until August.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You're still looking at around 15 events, roughly. 15 weekends, plus TOCs.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
It's still very busy in a sense.
Yeah, it is.
Very busy. Yeah. I used to do that, fish Saturday, Sunday, and go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, I don't have to go to work on Monday, so, or Friday. And, it's like, well, we could drive up Friday, take our time, and drive home Monday and take our time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like I get home at 2:00 in the morning and have to get up at 5.
Well, and then now you can just stay home on the weekends and fish during the week when nobody's out really on the lake.
Yeah, it's funny because when I do go on the weekend, I'm like, wow, a lot of people fishing. But that's all I ever did before was fish on the weekend,
Yeah.
But certain places, you show up on a Tuesday or a Monday or whatever during the week, and there's a whole bunch of boats there. I'm like, nobody works anymore, or what's the deal, But
that's I ask myself that every day. I would drive by Target or Costco and see the parking lot absolutely loaded on a weekday at freaking 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm like, doesn't anybody work anymore?
Right.
So
that's the first thing I noticed when I retired was all the people that shouldn't you be working?
Well,
but maybe they got
I
the
drive
day off today,
a lot for my job, sometimes throughout the week, so I notice it too. So but Max, thank you so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. And
good job at the TOC too.
We'll get you back on here sometime soon. But congratulations on your TOC win. Something really
good job.
Something
just got lucky.
Yeah, well,
you always say that.
Oh man,
just got lucky.
So
hey, you make your own.
Yeah,
luck. You make your own. Luck.
Five lucky bites.
So
you saw my 5 lucky bites, right?
Yeah, I did. It put you in top 10.
I was the last one with the limit. Yeah.
So,
John, we got some sponsors to thank.
We do. We do.
If you want to go through that.
First, Shane, I'd like to thank you.
Oh, thank you
for all you do for the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
you've been filling in for our protege.
Yep, James. He should be back.
He's out.
Should be back soon. I gotta give him a call.
Yeah, he's been out with his boy and his family, which is
that's an important time too. So
yeah, you got to take care of your family.
I'm gonna be kind of hit and miss here. My son and daughter are starting basketball season. Matter of fact, tomorrow night is their first scrimmage game. So we're gonna have 4 games a night, 4 games a week. So it's gonna be busy until February. So, but I'll be on hit and miss. So.
Okay.
But I got to talk with James, but we'll get him on here soon.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So yeah, you bet. And hell of a year there, Max. A hell of a year. You did great this year.
Just lucky, sir.
Yeah. You make your own luck. You make your own luck. Remember that. So P-Line and First Gen, two great sponsors of ours. They have some of the best line available on the market. They've been at this a long, long time. And First Gen, they have a lot of cool baits out. You need to check out the draw dropper, the buzz bait, the spinner bait they have. And if you use Anglers RX 10, you'll get 10% off. So go to the website, put that in as the code, you'll get 10% off, which is huge. Anymore, if I get 10% off on anything, I'm there, right?
Yeah,
right?
that's more.
10%.
That's more than your old man discount at the coffee shop, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, the coffee shop, they kicked me out of
there.
Don't forget about the underspin. Great underspin for the price.
Oh
yeah.
The underspin's been catching them big time lately. I can see that. So
yeah, they got a great hook. They're I mean, the way that it's designed, it's a great design. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then obviously Headwaters Adventures. You need something, Rancho Cordova, go there. They got what you need. That it's fully stocked. And see Brian. Brian's a great guy.
Yep.
Real good customer service. And Bioenno batteries. I have a hard time saying
Bioenno.
Great batteries. How long of
20-year warranty, guys.
20-year warranty, and they're made in the USA.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I keep saying it, man. Yeah. You know, I'm going to be 47 this year. I'm going to be 60 something years old by the time my warranty runs out. So should last.
And use capital 10 TEN.
Yes.
And you'll get 10%.
Yes.
Off. Yeah.
So.
And also, I want to thank all the viewers for watching.
Yeah.
You know, without you guys, we would be talking to ourselves.
Which is okay.
Yeah. I wear earbud a lot of times when I'm talking and people walk by and like, really? And then I have to point at my ear like I'm on the phone. Yeah. I'm not talking to myself.
Nowadays it's pretty normal to see that. So
yeah. But. Hey, I got something. So I look around, make some more things. So anyways, I was saying, oh, you're looking good. And this good-looking gal's walking by. She looks at me and smiles. And I thought to myself, oh, okay. But I was talking in my ear. So I'm like thinking, I'll put earbuds in, and every time I see something pleasant to the eyes,
that's funny.
I'll have to say that.
I'll be sure to keep that in my cards.
Yeah, there you go, Max.
Yeah.
Got some pointers.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
I think I made her day because she had a big old smile on her face. like, oh, yeah.
You probably did make her day, Johnny.
Yeah, instead of, like, oh, you old perv. No, that's my normal response. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, everyone. Don't have anything yet on the books for next week, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. So
and I'm sure we're gonna see Max on here a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have a feeling next year he's gonna not spread them out real thin and do really well. Yeah.
I don't know. I used up a lot of luck already, so we'll see what happens.
No, you make your own luck. You make your own luck.
Pretty soon it's going to be, well, I'm just catching the average 10-pounder.
Yeah. How many 10-pounders you got? Oh, this year I got 35.
Yep.
What?
If only it was like that.
So, Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Get out on the water, and we'll see you about
Happy
to say,
Thanksgiving.
if we don't, I don't know. If we
Yeah.
don't see you next week, due to Thanksgiving too. So we'll see you
Yeah.
the week after. But you guys all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time around.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Be safe.